Let's talk about TV shows. What makes a good TV show? What hinders a TV show? And all in all, why are TV shows the most popular form of entertainment nowadays? We used to have an age of movies. Back in the day, it was theater. We have all sorts of different forms of entertainment and media, and it constantly is in fluctuation. This isn't going to be like a deep dive essay or anything like that. This is just going to be me rambling about whatever I think uh, are the answers, as well as some possible reasons why I've come to these conclusions. So, for me, I think TV shows nowadays are largely made in response to the streaming show or streaming service boom, right? We have a billion different streaming services. They're all trying to get you onto their subscription plans in order for you to watch whatever TV shows. It's like a more direct link into old school cable, if you think about it like that. So, all these different websites and whatnot, these companies are coming up with their own streaming service with their own exclusives. So, you have to get 20 million and a half different subscription services. And honestly, I think the pandemic also has a lot to do with TV shows' popularities on top of that. Because, well, let me back up actually. Let's extrapolate the first point a little bit more. So, when you're having your shows on, or your streaming services, shows are probably more profitable in the long term because you get a lot more watch time out of them. Because with a movie, you only watch it for about an hour and a half, 3 hours at max, and that's it. You're done. But with TV shows, they can be anywhere from like 1 to 12 episodes long, or even longer than that. And that's about 20 to 50 minutes, depending on your TV show runtime. Uh, and it keeps people coming back when you're newly releasing a TV show. Like, you got a weekly release schedule, so everyone's coming back into their weekly service or their monthly service, so you can get people to join for like what we'll say 8 episodes, so 2 months versus a movie, which is more expensive, I would assume, and it only keeps them there. Like, they could start the trial and then leave. So I'm partially thinking it's the rise of streaming services is pushing out more of these TV shows on these streaming platforms. Second reason, like I was saying earlier, though, is the pandemic. Going to the theater used to be like this big old event. I know not everyone loved going to the theater, they would just wait for it, but for a lot of people, they like going to the movie theater, getting their popcorn, even if it's ridiculously expensive, their candy, their water, and whatnot. And then they just wanted to sit down and enjoy the movie and then talk about it with their friends or family or whoever it is they saw the movie with. It was kind of like an event, right? Rather than just watching a movie purely for the movie itself. It's more of this like atmosphere around it. But without that, you don't really get that sense of uh, an event anymore for or at movie theaters. I guess like they're starting to open up again now, but it was definitely like a huge blow to movies, making people probably transition more to the TV shows that are usually viewed at home. You don't normally see theaters showing reruns of Avatar: The Last Airbender or How I Met Your Mother or anything like that. It's its own separate entity. But now that we've talked a little bit about that, what makes a good TV show? Like, there's a bunch of different ways to make a TV show, and there's a bunch of different genres. But, like, what cements it for people as, like, a legendary thing? I don't think there's, like, a thing you can separate or be like, this is what makes a great show, this is what makes a terrible show. Like, it just is dependent on what the show is trying to do. But with that being said, I'm wondering if there's outside factors that can contribute or remove a show's ability to become extremely popular. Let's talk about The Mandalorian, for instance. I know majority of people love The Mandalorian. It is like the only good Star Wars to some that has come out of the Disney era. For me, myself, I'm just not too into it. I don't know if it's because everything looks kind of weird and wonky. Like, it definitely looks like Star Wars, but it doesn't look right, if that makes sense. I know people are going to be like, well, it's more like the original trilogy because it's all, a lot of it's practical effects and whatnot. But that's not what I mean. Like, TV shows just kind of have this look about them, and all of them do this. Like, all the live action ones, at least. All of them have this specific look and aesthetic that, like, clearly communicates TV show to me. I don't know what it is. It might just be like either the frame rate of the animation whenever you use CG, or it just might be the how they, like, the green screen effect might just be entirely different. I know that kind of goes into the CG, but like something doesn't look right to me on those TV shows, and I'm kind of wondering why exactly that is. Like, I don't quite get it myself. But that's one issue I have with The Mandalorian specifically. But another issue is I'm not too invested in a lot of the characters. Like, don't get me wrong, Baby Yoda's cute. And I do, like, The Mandalorian's kind of interesting. It's very show, don't tell, kind of, in terms of storytelling. Like, there's a lot of things happen and they don't tell you a lot of the background or the history of it, which is fine. Star Wars is kind of known for doing that, kind of. But like, there's just no substance there for me, if that makes sense. Like, Star Wars has always tried to say something. It might not be like 100% political. Usually it is, though. Star Wars is a very political series if you actually like look into it. Even the original trilogies. That might like set people off, but that is 100% a very politically charged story. It's just we don't live in that political climate anymore, so. Sorry. So we don't experience the same uh, feelings when we watch it. It's more like historical in terms of its political message, but I just don't get that in The Mandalorian. Like, it just seems like an interesting tale, but it doesn't present any questions to the viewer, in my opinion. Like, it is very much episodic with a through line for every single scene. Like, it does all build up into the climax, but a lot of it is just kind of inconsequential. For instance, the scene where the bounty hunter, or the Mandalorian, I should say, is trying to find a home for Baby Yoda, and he just leaves it, or tries to leave it on that planet, but then he has to teach all the people how to be an AT-AT. Um, the walker, the two-legged one. I don't know if I got the exact name of it right. But, like, that one doesn't really build too much into the greater narrative. It's also an overused trope in terms of episodic story structure. Like, it's used in the Clone Wars, it's used in Avatar The Last Airbender, it's used in, like, any action media, like, ever. The heroes find a planet and they have to teach the villagers to defend themselves. Like, you've seen that a million times before in TV shows. You might not recognize the trope, but it is 100% there. And, like, those episodes, in my opinion, are some of the weakest episodes we see in any TV show. And I don't know. I just don't think The Mandalorian is quite as good. But I've kind of gotten really off topic. So, what makes a TV show good to you guys? Like, I just kind of want to know what exactly is your preferences for TV shows. Like, and that can include anime or anything like that. Anything that is like on a week by week release schedule. It doesn't have to be specifically that. Something that has multiple different chapters or episodes or whatever you want to call it over a long period of time. That's what I would consider a TV show. Right? Something that's like 20, 50 minutes long and you normally go once a week. What exactly gets you guys interested in these? I'm gonna go ask more for the non comedic flavor of the week shows because those ones to me are kind of the like they're mostly there for the comedy. Like I guess they can be there for the action, but usually when you're doing your action shows, you kind of want more of a through line or a story. I know that's not always the case. We have things like Ben 10, for instance, first original Ben 10, not so much the newer stuff, where there's very little episode overlap. But that's all I got for right now. I know my thoughts are very scattered, but this is more of going to be a video series for me, just so I can start articulating a little bit better and keeping a more focused train of thought. So hopefully over time I'll get a little bit better at that. But I hope you guys have a busted day. Bye.